What's up, guys? I think we're good. I think we're live here. Let me just check a few things. All right, so looks like on my end that everything is okay for now. So for those of you who don't know, I'm traveling for my real job. I'm on business travel for the last couple days, and I've been in this hotel and just going stir crazy. So I figured while I was here, I kind of thought of this ahead of time, I guess, because clearly I have a camera with me. I was like, hey, maybe I'll just do a stream, and I've been the Wi-Fi situation in this hotel is just like alternatively awesome and then terrible, and I never know when it's gonna flip flop. So right now it's really good, and I have upload speeds of like 80 megabits per second, which is more than enough to stream at 1080p. But when I was doing some tests before, it was like dropping down to like below 1. And then bouncing back up. So the stream was alternately, like YouTube has a little tool that tells you what the stream status is, and it was like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. So I don't know how this is going to go, and if it starts to go bad, then we might have to end it early. I clearly I don't want to do that. Usually I stream for about an hour, and we'll try to do that. Also, I don't know how the audio is going to be. I'm using a Rode VideoMic Pro, but because of how I had to mount the camera, it's not pointed at me. It's like all the way up here, and so it's kind of pointing over my head. So I don't know if the volume is sufficient or not. I have it all the way cranked up in OBS, so this is kind of the best I could do for now without playing with camera settings. So I just, I hope it is sufficient, and I hope it doesn't sound terrible, that it's not super echoey or too low or something. But I did bring with me a little light, so hopefully I am illuminated enough. Anyway, that's enough complaining, I guess. Just want to let you guys know where I was at and what's up with this stream. So as you could probably tell from the title, I didn't really have any topics necessarily in mind. There are definitely some things that I wanted to touch on briefly, but nothing big. Usually when I do these streams, I have a couple of specific topics that I want to discuss. So that's really not what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to kind of rely on you guys to see what you want to talk about and to kind of drive the conversation. So please, as always, feel free to just let me know what you want to talk about in the chat. Ask me questions. I do my best to try to respond to as many of them as I can. Although I obviously can't respond to everybody. I don't see all the questions. They sometimes scroll by pretty fast. Without further ado, I guess I'll get to reading some of these comments. Not drinking anything special, just some Dasani, in case the Coca-Cola company wants to sponsor a video or something. Dasani for all of your thirst quenching needs. Super chat. El Jefe reviews. Wanted to say thank you for the supportive comment you left me in regards to that headphone company that doesn't like my Oh, so right. I remember. So no problem. So I left there was a situation with Mr. El Jefe, who he did a review of headphones that was, perfectly reasonable. I think from watching it. Wasn't the best review, and the company didn't particularly like his response, and their response wasn't Let me start over. They didn't particularly like the review and sent him a response, and I just kind of let him know that, we got your back, man, and that's true. We certainly do. The YouTube community, especially tech reviewers, are pretty tight knit, and we are not ones to just. We appreciate people who are honest, and that's kind of what the community and the I don't know, this platform for reviews is built on, because if you start getting people who are selling out and just caving to pressure from companies, these reviews become meaningless and the content becomes nonsense. So, and just basically an advertising platform, and that's not what we're here for. So, good for you, man. Good for you standing up for yourself. And I mean, everybody go check them out. LFA reviews. Hold on. Sorry about that. One more super chat from Frederick Marco. Good evening from Montreal. Love your channel. What are your expectations for Ryzen 3000? That's a good topic. We could definitely talk about that. Okay, so let's do that. So Ryzen 3000. I guess there's. I've spoken with AMD about this, and I mean, everybody knows it's coming. I guess there's some information that I can't necessarily share, but don't get me saying that as me implying that I have some huge amount of info. I just had some private conversations with them that I don't necessarily know if they wanted me to share, so I just won't. But we were just talking in very broad terms about the 3000 series, and general speculation, and what I think is probably fairly confirmed at this point, is that we'll see some information coming from Computex, which is in, what's today, the 8th? So it's in like less than 3 weeks. So Lisa Su has the keynote. I'm sure she's going to be talking 7 nanometer, all the things. So you'll probably hear something about Ryzen. You may hear something about Navi. Don't really know yet. But I've talked about this before. I think on a live stream actually, as far as what my expectations for Ryzen 3000 are, and I think that it's fair to assume that we're going to see higher core count chips. And it's fair to assume we're going to see IPC and clock speed bumps. It's not fair to assume we're going to see a 5 gigahertz all-core 16-core chip, because that's absurd. Like, those giant leaps just don't happen. Like, it's usually very incremental, especially when we're going down to 7 nanometers. And, I mean, that's a brand new process, and it's not mature yet. So the likelihood that we see something like that, like boom, right out of the gates, is very, very low. But I think that Intel continues to now figure out that they need to release processors with higher core counts, catching up with where AMD is, that AMD is just going to try to make that next leap. So I think that 12 core and potentially 16 core chips are probably coming. I think the rumors now, is 4.5 gigahertz turbo on the higher end chips, which seems, if you compare it to where we are now, reasonable, because right now I think the 2700X is supposed to boost to 4.3. So 200 megahertz bump is within the realm of possibility, certainly. Now, as far as performance goes, I'm not going to make any speculations about that. We just don't know. It's just too soon. But if all the things fall into place that we've been hearing about, it's definitely going to be a compelling product. I think that it's going to definitely... It remains to be seen how the pricing is going to line up, but traditionally AMD has been cheaper than Intel. So we'll see. If they maintain... if the 9900K is $500 and the 2700X is $240, whatever it is now, even if AMD doubles their price up to $480 for a 16 core chip, that seems like that would be hard to beat at the price point for Intel. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting next couple of months. I don't know that we'll see the release of those chips anytime soon still. I think it's probably still a few months away. But we will find out hopefully soon. All right. So I'm going to scroll back up and I will read through some comments. How about that? Jacob Tran, when is Computex? Well, I think we answered that. I think it officially starts on the 28th, but everybody usually gets there early. It runs for like 4 days. Same thing as CES. It's a 4-day show. What's up from the island of Guam? What's up, Renz, from the island of Guam? Thanks for tuning in, man. Jacob Tran, hey, I've been waiting for 3 hours. Why? You could go do something else, man. But thank you. Thank you for your dedication. Jacob also asked, what is your full-time day job? And again, I mean, this is something that I've definitely answered before, but I work for a very large insurance company. And we have I mean, I don't want to get too far in the weeds on that, but we had a conference here for the last couple of days, so that's what I've been doing. Token Tech, hi, how's it going? Good, man. Good. Epic Dude, I love you 3000. Well, thanks. We won't. No Avengers spoilers, please, in the chat for those of you who haven't seen it yet. But thank you very much. Justin Land says, I was looking at getting the Thermaltake Ring Trio fans so I could use the chroma lighting on my computer, but I was wondering if there's a 360 red that comes with the fans. Do I have to buy them separate? There's no, as far as I know, Thermaltake does not have any AIOs that come with the Ring Trios. Oh, audio sounds good. Okay, good. Okay, J Rook, I know you've built in the PC-011, which has unusual fan placement. Are there any fans that look good from the back side that I could use as intake? The Ring Trios look really good from the rear. I mean, they have that separate ring on the rear just for that. The Enermax, their square RGB fans also have a ring of LEDs at the back. What other ones? So Corsair's LLs don't specifically have lighting at the back, but they are so bright that they look pretty good also looking at them from the rear. So there's definitely a few options out there. Paladin George, have you seen the latest Navi leaks? I have seen them. It's very rumory right now, so I'm gonna just stay away from those if that's all right. Cato Script, do you think AMD is still a good option for high-end gaming for graphics cards? Yeah, so I mean, high-end gaming is pretty broad term. I don't know what kind of monitor you have, what kind of resolution you want to game at, what kind of budget you have. AMD has a lot of compelling products. Their highest end is one that I mean, I'm sure is well documented at this point that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's still a decent product. It's still a really beastly 1440p card. I'm sure even some titles play well at 4K. The issue is the price of that card compared to its competition, and if you go on Newegg and look at the Radeon 7 is $699, and there are probably 5 or 6 different RTX 2080s that are that same price, and there are another, 5 or 10 that are within $20 of that price, and the 2080 is just a better deal. So that is my biggest problem with the Radeon 7 at this point. That and the fact that it is still very loud. And I know maybe I'll talk about Radeon 7 a bit. So I posted my initial review of Radeon 7 however long ago, and then I did a revisit of it a couple weeks ago, and it's got a decent amount of views and a lot of mixed reactions to it, where people are saying that I'm not giving the card a fair shake or that I'm just biased against AMD. And I'm not going to argue that I'm not, because I've done that a lot. I try to keep the playing field as level as possible, and I try to give the cards a fair shake either way. Like I went back and retested this card to see if it was better, and the things that really get me are people like in the comments saying that I'm incorrect about things like that the card is loud. That doesn't make any sense. I stuck a sound meter to it, and I have ears, so it is loud. And you know, if you really want to go to that route of undervolting it, be my guest. It helps a little. Its card still is not particularly quiet, and it does not help performance at all. So the people that are just going hog wild saying that I messed up because I didn't undervolt the card in my testing, well, undervolting is not the answer to everything. So it is a decent card if you want to tweak it, if you want to get a card and play around with it and do the undervolting and do whatever else you want. I mean, but my take on it is that there are better options out there at that price. But if you own one, it's still a good product. Like you'll still get good use out of it. You still be able to game at decently high resolutions at good frame rates. It's not bad. Just comparatively, it's not the best. So I think that anytime you say that in any kind of a review video, the AMD fanboys seem to come out of the woodworks and really hammer you about it. So I don't know. I'm just trying to be objective as possible. I give you all the data, like all my testing data is in the videos. So I'm drawing conclusions based on the same data that I'm showing you guys. So if you want to draw different conclusions from the same data, okay. I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's why I give you the data. But sorry, kind of went off on a tangent there. Lance Dumhoff. Hello. Hello. You must be a channel member, sir. Thank you. I see your little BPS logo icon there. What is happening here? Okay. Looking forward to the BKG. Looking forward to the Monster water-cooled MSI Godlike computer build to be finished. So me too. That build is gonna take a little while because I have to. So I have all the components. I've had them, but so the next video is going to be. I'm gonna do like a how to install water blocks video. I know this probably been done before, but I can't remember the last time I even touched on that. So we're gonna do how to install a CPU block, how to install a GPU block, like how to orient the blocks because you could turn them. Like the CPU block anyway, and then we're gonna put everything in the case, and then I'm gonna show you guys what kind of custom stuff I'm doing. So I'm getting a custom distro plate and reservoir for the back wall of the Meshify S2, and I know that's something that's done with like the PCO 11, but I've never seen it done for a fractal case. And I have a friend of mine, Joe from Sanctum Sleeving, is into like custom fabrication now. And I was talking to him, and we're gonna do it. So I'm gonna get him all the dimensions. We're gonna fabricate a custom distro plate, and so that's gonna take a little while. So as long as that's in progress, I can't really go any further with the build, unfortunately. But I will be doing it as fast as I can once that comes back. I promise. All right. I'm way behind on these comments already, I could tell. GTT WinCam. Can't wait for the Ryzen 3000 to be launched. 10 years on X58 and eager to start fresh. Even bought the RAM already. Man, 10 years on X58. You know, I'm sure you could still get away with it. X58 was a really good platform. So, but yeah, definitely seems like it's a good time to upgrade. It's a good time to build a computer in general, for real. Prices are down. Intel and AMD are beating each other up. So, yeah, go for it. Kingdom Comp, hey chat. What's up? What's up, my guy? What's up, Kingdom Comp? lost my place. Lost my place. Sorry, guys. Ugh. There's a lot of comments that I'm having to skip here because I think I lost my place, but I'm just going to jump back into what I was reading. Okay. La Cosa. What is a good Pico PSU in the 300 to 400 watt range? I'm not sure I'm familiar with what a Pico PSU is. Do I have to look that up? What's a Pico PSU? Oh, sorry. I don't know. Hopefully somebody in the chat can help you out. Okay. Ginger Kid, you think the 1070 Ti with the i9 9900K is an okay mix for gaming? Can't bring myself to buy a 2080 Ti. Yeah, 1070 Ti is still really good for probably at least a couple of years. Lance Dumhoff, other than cable mod, what extensions would you put your money on? You mean like what do I like? I mean, I'll always bump NSource Customs. Joey does amazing work, so go check him out. Ensourced.net with an E, ENSOURCED. Okay. Adriel Burgos. I'm an enthusiast that is losing his vision, and I wanted to thank you and your channel. Your channel has helped me with so much and continue my love for PCs. Oh, that's great, man. Good luck. That's got to be pretty rough, but I'm glad that I could help you out at least a little bit. Marc-Andre Brassard. Anything else not AMD will be interesting at Computex this year? There's always a whole bunch of stuff that's interesting at Computex. There's some stuff that I've discussed with some vendors. I'm not going to Computex. It's a long story. I probably could have gone. I had the sponsorships and all that in the works, and some personal stuff came up. I'm not going to go. I have to dedicate some time to family, and I did the China trip earlier this year, and so I'm just not going to go to Computex. It's another Asia trip. It's a pretty big time sink. In any event, I'm not going. I know there's actually a couple other fairly large YouTubers that are not going as well, but Kyle's going, Steve's going, Gamers Nexus is going. So follow their channels if you want some in-depth coverage. Anyway. Because I'm not going to Computex, this is where I was going with this. Because I'm not going to Computex, I have had some conversations with some vendors just being like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. What is going on at Computex this year that I'm going to be missing? Can you clue me in as far as what you have coming on? So some vendors have been willing to share that information and some have not. So I'm afraid that I don't want to talk about that right now for fear of breaking anybody's confidence. So there should be some interesting stuff happening in Taiwan this year for sure. Galloping Nuns, if you were building a system using an Aorus motherboard, what case fans would you opt for in place of the incompatible LL series? Looking for similar brightness and or color brilliance. Well, I mean, there's not many that compete with the LLs like the Ring Trios and Thermaltake do, but I don't know why they're not. So the LLs are not incompatible. You just have to use the separate controller. Same thing with like Thermaltake fans. It still runs off of a USB header on the motherboard, so they're not incompatible at all. It's just I think you mean with like the ARGB header. So the new Fractal Prismas have an ARGB header on them, and I really like those fans, so I'll just say those. The Random Mud Kipper. Have you tried the P350X case? I love mine. I have not. I just built in the P300 a couple months ago, and it was really good. And Fantex always has really good low-end stuff. So P300, P400, awesome cases for the money. And it's one of the problems that I had with the case that I built in for this past month's build, the Matrix Deepcool's Matrix 70. It was like a budget-ish case, it was like $70, but like you compare it to something like the P350X, and it looks pretty silly. So yeah, Fantex is killing it in that low-end market. What's the best RGB static pressure fans? The LL120 white edition static pressure fans. The regular LL120s, the black versions, are not great radiator fans. The LL120 whites, they did some. I think they bumped up the RPM, but also static pressure on those is rated at like 3.0, I think. So those are really, really high static pressure fans. So check them out, I guess. Paladin George, I'm really hopeful for Navi because Nvidia stuff is just so expensive right now, and that's the same position that a lot of people are in, unfortunately. But right now they still have the most powerful cards. So if you want the best, it's still going to cost a lot of money. Excuse me. Gary Gerhardt commenting on Radeon 7 that we were talking about before. I water cooled my Radeon 7 overclocked to 2100 megahertz and haven't looked back. Yeah, absolutely, that's a thing you can do. But there were people arguing with me in the comments that I needed to put a water block on that card in order to get it to work properly and then compare it to NVIDIA. And that's, if you're going to put a water block on it and you want to incur that expense, that's fine. I'm sure your card is great. But if your argument is you have to put a water block on it, then you have to compare it against something that costs $150 more than the card, plus all the other water cooling equipment that you might need, which is just a weird way to say that Radeon 7 is better. It was almost like people were jumping through hoops to say that the Radeon 7 is better than I was giving it credit for. I'm not sure why. But if you have a water-cooled Radeon 7, it's still really good. That's not a point that I would argue. Liquid cool a Nintendo Switch. Why? Why would I do that? It sounds interesting, but I can only imagine your Nintendo Switch turns into a Nintendo Switch. Hello, everyone from Spain. Arioki. What's up, man? Or woman. I think man. Michael Wilson. Big fan. Just want to drop by and say hello. Hello, Michael Wilson. All right, I'm going to scroll to the bottom, see where we're at. All right. D'Angelo Sandoval, what's the best bang for your buck graphics card? I think the 1660 Ti is a good answer there. The 2060, if you have a little more money, I guess the 2060 is really strong performer. If you could afford a 2060, I think that is a really good card for the money. The P350X is an awesome case, especially in terms of cable management. I don't doubt it. Yeah, most of their cases are. Any good options left for an aftermarket cooling for a Founders GTX 1080? The EVGA hybrid kit is extinct. Looking for an upgrade without going full custom loop. Your best bet might be to try to find a hybrid kit on eBay. Dusan Paklar, BPS Customs, what about your giveaway? What about it? It is not over yet. There's still another week to go. Get entered. If you're not entered, if you live in the United States, you could win that PC. If you don't live in the if you live in North America, you could win that PC. If you don't, then you could win a hoodie or a gift card. So I tried to do my best to make sure that everybody had access to some kind of prize. And I know that it's not the same level as giving away a PC, but I did what I could. And, I hope that it's better than just kind of ignoring the whole rest of the world. So, I hope you guys like the hoodies or the gift card. Or if you live in North America, I hope whoever wins it needs that PC. I hope it goes to somebody who could use it. As is this the case with basically any time I give anything away, which is why I gave that PC to Serena, that streamer, because she is somebody who really could use it, and I know needed it. So, and there's going to be more content coming up with her. Actually, we were talking, and the PC that she used to use, which I showed a picture of in that video, she's going to be. I told her to send it to me. And I'll clean it up. I'll probably give it a new case. See what else I could do to it that's not too crazy. And because she wants to give it to a friend of hers for him to start streaming. So it would be hard to do in its current condition. So I was like, we'll make it happen. So she's going to be sending me that PC, and then we'll make a video out of cleaning it up and maybe upgrading it just a little bit, but just kind of making sure it's fully functional for the next person. So, like we touched on in that video, she's trying to pay it forward, which is great. Okay. Kato script, if I had a U.S. address and I can cost the shipping to my country, I still qualify for the giveaway. So, so that's something that I commented on that video, on the giveaway video. I don't care where you live, as long as where I'm sending the PC is inside North America. So if you have a US PO box or a US shipping forwarder or something that you want me to send it to, that's fine. I'll do that. But just understand that once it gets there, I'm not responsible for it. And I can't be responsible for whatever import taxes you might incur or anything like that. So if that's something you're willing to take on, then yes, I will send it to your US address, and then you could get it from there. Most people in the world don't have that available to them. So it's much easier for me to just say North America PC, not North America other things. Manic here. What's up? What's up, Mike? I'm gonna mod you. I don't have a mod right now, so welcome to moderator land. The Manic is now your moderator, and if you get banned, blame him on Twitter. The Manic. Okay. Which current NVIDIA and AMD GPU would you recommend the most? I try to stay away from these kinds of questions because there's just not enough information. I don't know what your budget is. I don't know what case you're building in. I don't know what games you want to play, what resolution you want to play at. What I would recommend, the 2080 Ti is what I'd recommend. So be a little more specific, and we'll try to get that answered for you. All right. Much love and support from Serbia. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Fans all over the world. Going global, bitches. All right. Um, Mike, you got anything you want to talk about? Post it in chat. We'll chat. Overclock.net. What's up? What's up, man? Welcome to the chat, sir. If you had a chance to assemble a fully modular customizable case, what parts from what cases would you use? That's such a good question, but I have no idea. Like, I'd have to sit down and think about it. But that is really, it's like a really good thought experiment to say what's perfect about what cases. So maybe that's something I could look into for some video, like my ideal case, and just kind of build it theoretically or something. Okay. What's your opinion on the MSI 2080 Duke OC? So I've never used that specific card, but I have used their Duke 2080 Ti, and it's an excellent card especially for the price. Like, it's one of the, I think it's fairly inexpensive. It's a reference PCB card with a big cooler on it, basically, sorry. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. That's my fault. So yeah, 2080 Ti Duke was really good. 2080 Duke probably similarly good. Although I'm hesitant to say for sure because I've never used it personally. But good cooler on that for sure. What do you drive, Brian? I drive an Audi. What do you drive? A Rock 72? Mike says, I was working on some B-roll for a thing, and he was just going to lurk. Well, Mike, I've now put you to work, and you have enormous amounts of responsibility on your shoulders, so, suck it. I'll send you a hoodie or something. The Duke line cuts a lot off of the possible performance from the PCB and GPU to be able to put a triple fan cooler on it. Well, that's not true. The Duke uses the reference PCB. It doesn't cut off anything. It actually adds length to put a larger heatsink and more fans to increase cooling performance, lower noise, and decrease temperatures. It's pretty good. Okay. Ted P. Overclocking Ryzen 2600X. Go with a solid air cooler for $100, or for $100 more, go for an AIO. You're spending $100. There's $100 difference between a solid air cooler and an AIO. So that means you're talking about, so your solid air cooler must be $20, because I guess maybe it's up to $40 or something. I don't know. I thought if you're talking a solid air cooler like a Dark Rock 4 or something, or like a Noctua, then that's probably more. That's way more than enough. So, but if you're talking like a Hyper 212 or something like that, it's probably still fine. Like the new Hyper 212 Blacks are really good, but I mean, if you really want to max it out, I mean, you'll need as much cooling as you could get. So, but the 2600X does not put off a lot of heat. I think it's a 95 watt TDP. So you could go with an air cooler and be fine. But if you're really looking to push it, you got to get a little bit. You got to do a little more than like a $20 air cooler. So what I was laughing at before was Craft Computing was complaining to me that I stole his streaming time slot. So if anybody follows his channel, watches his live streams, be sure to head over to him after we're done here. We'll only be a little bit more. Let's see. Jacket Spice. I'm getting a 1070 for a case and GPU swap from a friend after he traded his Black Widow X Chroma for a K68 without RGB. I got on clearance for $45 because he likes cherry reds. Okay, cool. DJ Magan, working night shift here in Denmark. Looking forward to using the time to listen to you. Thanks, DJ. What are you doing over in Denmark? And how is the weather over there? I've never been to Denmark. Aroc, my 2600X ran beautifully at stock with an air cooler Hyper 212. Sure, at stock, a Hyper 212 is more than enough. I mean, even you could probably even get some mild overclocks out of a 2600X with a Hyper 212. That's kind of what I was saying. But if you're looking, if you feel like I want to overclock, then you probably need to go a little bit heavier on the cooling. Smoking Good says, hey man, just got my Kingpin RTX 2080 Ti. I absolutely love this card. I had a couple issues with my Founders card. I have begged Jacob to send me one of those, and he has not. So I haven't got my hands on one of them. I would love to have one in here for testing, but it's probably not in the cards. But yes, I mean, that is one of, if not the best 2080 Ti out there for sure. Gatterman Talman, you need to drink some beer. I can't drink beer. I have celiac disease. But we're drinking water. Token Tech, how do you feel about the EK Fluid gaming kits, aluminum custom loops? I feel that they're perfectly fine as long as you're staying with all aluminum components, which is how they sell them. So they're not looking to mix metals on their own. If you do that later, that's kind of on you. But if you stick with just what they send you and other aluminum parts, there is no problem at all with using aluminum in custom loops. Super chat from Old Man Ian, $10. Missed most of the stream, you bitch. I did get the RIP 9900K rated. Oh, excellent. So Ian is a patron, and we have a Discord, and we have been discussing that he has unfortunately murdered a 9900K by attempting to delete it. And I have persuaded him to send it to me. Actually, he kind of offered. So what we're going to do is I want to take a closer look at it, see if we can compare it to other 9900Ks, see if maybe he mistakenly knocked off an SMD or something along those lines, and then maybe try to do some surgery on it and get it to boot. I don't know. If I do, I'll send it back to you. But I'll try to do something with it. I trust that he has done a lot to try to get this thing back to life, and it has not worked. So the likelihood that we'll get it to work is low. At the same time, I think we can get some decent content out of it by just kind of showing what happened. So yes, thank you very much, and thanks for the super chat. Strong Veek, what pump or pump res combo would you recommend for single component cooling? It depends what component, really, because if you're looking to if you're just looking to cool your CPU, I mean, you may be just better off getting an AIO. I don't know if that's, or unless you're looking to expand in the future. There's a lot of like D5 combos out there. EK's D5 Revo, I think that's what it's called. I used for a long time, and it was really, really good. Um, so maybe that one. I don't know that I know the model numbers of a lot of them offhand, but I've used Heat Killer has a DDC mountable reservoir that was really good. But their stuff is pretty expensive. It's like they're all glass tubing and stuff. But you have to buy the pump separate, but you just mount it together so it looks like one unit. So that's really good. Alpha Cool's got a pump res combo. Basically every water cooler company has some kind of a pump res combo. And if you're just, I mean, looking for something basic, it's almost hard to go wrong, to be honest, because the pumps themselves are not made by those companies. They're made by Lang, Laing. So, and in any event, yeah, there's a lot of them out there. Sorry, I'm gonna scroll back up. DJ is working at a factory making electrical houses for the electrical network. Interesting. Weather is not great right now, but last summer was summer for 4 months. Yeah, we kind of get that in Maryland, where it's like, it kind of the seasons change very quickly, very abruptly. So it'll snap into summer at some point in May, and then it'll be like 95 degrees for a couple months, and then all of a sudden in like September, October, it'll just like be 50 degrees. So I get you. I know what you mean. Sorry, that was Fahrenheit. So do the translation. My math skills are off. Draco Spider, can you use two different memory speeds? You can, but you will default to the lower one. Milketo, how's the pup doing? He's doing really good. He's home. He's not here with me in the hotel room. Wife is taking care of him. He'll be a year old. Wow. He'll be a year old in, I forget, June or July. So within a month or two, he'll be a year. So he is basically no longer a puppy, but he's doing really well. He's a very fun dog, and he's a French bulldog. So I don't know how familiar you are with that breed, but they're generally not very athletic dogs. But he is like sporting French bulldog. He loves chasing down frisbees and like playing fetch and running around with other dogs and stuff like that. And he's very fun and goofy. So we have a good time with him. He's awesome. Thanks for asking. Matthew Bracciano, are you going to Computex? I am not. I'm not going this year. I actually discussed that a little more length earlier, so if you want to rewind. But unfortunately, I'm not going to Computex this year. Ken Judy says, I got a question for a personal build. And then does not ask a question. All right. So maybe ask it later. Andy Johnston, it's cloudy in California, so go figure. What's up, Andy? How about you build some French Bulldog themed PC? Yikes. I can't even imagine what that would look like. Would I have to put like goofy ears on it and stuff? Maybe really squat legs? That would be really weird. All right. Desmond Bradley, would it be optimal to keep the water in a cooling loop at 69 Fahrenheit or 21 C prior to entering the water blocks? How would you do that? You don't want it. So 21 C is sub-ambient a lot of the time, or at least some of the time. So if you're talking about like applying some kind of a chiller to it at some point in the loop, That's not a good idea. You'll end up with an enormous amount of condensation. So no, I don't think that's a good idea. Token Tech, how long do you think it will take for us to see used 1080 Ti's for around $300? I feel it will be a while. What are they now? Are they still like $500 now? I mean, it'll probably be the next generation before we see $300 1080 Ti's then. Because so 980 Ti's right now are 200-ish. But 1080 Ti's were a good amount better than 980 Ti's. So I think, yeah, probably by the next generation of NVIDIA GPUs that's launched, we'll probably see $300 1080 Ti's. I stand by that. Hold me to it. If used only for gaming, is it worth waiting for Ryzen 3000, says Alex R. Considering... Where did I go? Considering AMD performance in games. I've had this kind of same response to a lot of people when they ask me, is it worth waiting for X product? And if you need something now, buy it now. That's it. Like, there's always going to be something that's coming next. There's always going to be an upcoming release from Intel or AMD or NVIDIA or whatever. I was going to say AMD again. There's always something coming next. There's always going to be a new product. So if you're waiting for the next best thing, you're always going to be waiting for the next best thing. Just if you need something, buy it now. Things are good right now. PC parts are good, in a good place. So if you want to buy something only for gaming, and you want to buy, if it seems like you might not want a Ryzen chip, Intel stuff for gaming is excellent right now. So even if you don't go like super high end, if you go like 9700K, which is still, I guess, a pretty high end chip, excellent gaming chip. But if you got a couple months and you're really curious, then wait. But if you want to buy, if you need something, then certainly just buy it now. You're probably not going to go wrong. And you won't, like, unless you're gaming, unless you're at the absolute pinnacle of I don't know, esports or if you're gaming at 240 hertz, the CPU is not really going to cause you much problems for a long time. Like, your CPU is not going to be your limiting factor for quite a while. Do you think a 2070 is good for 144 hertz monitors? Absolutely. Hey, BPS Customs, do you think you'll get any Enermax cases to review? I'm really interested in the new lineup, especially the Sabre Advanced. I have. So the Starry Fort just came in. I think I just ran a pre-roll on that. I have a lot of cases that I could probably just ask them for one, but I try to hold off until I have a specific project in mind, because cases take up so much room. My entire basement is full of case boxes. So I don't have any plans to get in the Sabre Advance, because I have reviewed the Sabre before and there's not a whole lot of changes. But maybe I might, if there's a huge demand for it, certainly. Hey Brian, I have a friend that has a stutter issue / lag with a 2080 Ti on a 1080p 240 hertz with an i7 9700K. Could bottleneck be a problem? Probably not. Okay. All right, couple more questions. Okay. If I might ask, what do you think when we see DDR5 memory for customers, and not for a bit? I mean, it's not far off, that's for sure, but there's no plans just yet. So you're talking at least a year or two before we even start talking about it, probably. Jonathan Rosalia, if near a Micro Center, there's an $80 Ryzen 1600 deal. It's pretty compelling, to be honest. That's a 2600 in disguise. It's close enough, anyway. That's a really good deal for sure. Desmond, you keep asking the same question, man. I answered that already. Would a Ryzen 2600 and an RTX 2070 be a good pair? Yeah, absolutely. Silly question, is Maryland chicken a thing in Maryland? Maryland chicken? I don't know that I've heard of Maryland chicken. What's in Maryland chicken? Hello from Montreal, Canada. I like all your videos. Well, I like Montreal, Canada. I like your casino. All right. 2 more questions. If you got them, fire them off quick. We're almost done here. I have a budget of $1,500 and a 2070 GPU is what I need. Suggest a system. That leaves you $1,000 for everything else. That's a lot. You'd be fine. Like you could build a 9900K system with that easily. Okay, first time here, Desert Sun. I have a question for you. Do you think that 3400 hertz of 16 gigabyte? Okay, I'm gonna reword your question the way I think you're trying to ask it. Do I think that 16 gigs of 3400 megahertz RAM will be good for 2 to 3 years? So I think you mean like 3466, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I mean, I think in 2 to 3 years, I think so 2 or 3 years ago, you could even get away with doing like with running 8 gigs of RAM, and now you need 16. And I think in 2 to 3 years, you might need more, but 16 for the next 2 to 3 years is fine. Okay. All right. Hey, was wondering if you knew why my brother's GPU fans don't spin when he's gaming. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to ask your brother, I guess. Tell him to install MSI Afterburner and click the custom fan curve button and see if that helps. Oh, okay. Maryland chicken. In Australia, Maryland chicken is a whole chicken leg cut into its thighs and leg pieces and sold in that form. It's usually marinated and cooked in an oven or on a barbecue. Oh, that sounds delicious. No, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. All right. I think that's it. I think we're done, guys. It's been about an hour. Thank you so much. One more question, because it's a good one. Do you have any more tours planned for the future? I really enjoyed all of them. I hope everybody enjoyed them. I had a really good time over in China. The Cooler Master team was very gracious as hosts, and both Steve and I got a lot of good content out of it. There'll be more content on the channel with Steve coming up. I don't want not to spoil anything. Me and Steve are working on something. But no more factory tours planned just yet. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed those because they were fun to make and it was a good trip. All right, so that's it. We're out of here, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out on a Wednesday night, and we are just at an hour almost exactly. And hopefully I didn't piss off Jeff from Craft Computing too much. See you guys later. New video dropping tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Later, guys.